From innovative drug development strategies, science has also delved into the very core of our cells in a search for novel approaches to treating disease. It has taken 2 decades, but the sequencing of the human genome and the technologies it has spawned are now beginning to bear remarkable fruit, first for rare diseases, and now for common afflictions from heart disease to cancer. Probably the best-known genetic intervention, CRISPR, is examined in another conference session, but there are a number of other nucleotide paths to disease treatment that may be as productive as gene editing. Most are permutations on that now renowned molecule, RNA. Companies like Biogen, Novartis, and Alnylam are turning the tables in a way on RNA by impersonating this vital nucleic acid, but in a way that hinders its normal function. Broadly termed antisense oligonucleotides, they bind to specific sites on functional RNA, blocking its ability to make a protein or work in other ways. But no application for RNA has had a greater impact on human disease in the 21st century than messenger RNA, mRNA for short. It is an incredibly powerful and flexible platform that is being harnessed not just for COVID-19 vaccines, but for a number of other vaccine targets as well. Then there's therapeutic applications to make replacement proteins in rare genetic diseases and manufacturing drugs against cancer. One of the earliest companies to see and explore the transformative potential of mRNA is Moderna Therapeutics. Here to discuss his company's varied uses of what he calls the software of life is CEO Stéphane Bancel. What is different about an mRNA vaccine that you've developed versus some of the more traditional, virus-based vaccines?
Yes. So, Max, it's good to see you and thank you for the invitation. So in the case of an mRNA vaccine, we basically, in our factory, make a piece of messenger RNA so that it can be injected in your body, and your own cells are going to read that message. And from the instruction on the message, it's going to make a protein, in the case of this vaccine, the spike protein, so that your immune system, when it will see that protein, will make a lot of antibodies, so that if later on you get a natural infection of a virus, you will have already antibodies to bind to it, so that you don't get sick and the virus doesn't replicate in your body.
So essentially, you're using our own bodies as as a manufacturing plant.
Oh, exactly. And the way to think about it is mRNA is software, mRNA is code, which again, it's a new concept to a lot of people, but the way life works in plants, in fishes, in humans, in animals, on the entire living kingdom on the planet, the way life works is all the information is stored in DNA. We think about DNA as the hard drive of people's instruction set. And then mRNA is a molecule in between that makes a copy of only the instruction for one protein. All your proteins are in your DNA, but mRNA, only one protein to make the protein into your body. So it's really a piece of software.
Terrific, terrific. So using this new technology, you've been able to create a vaccine that the numbers look like 95% effective in a remarkably short period of time, perhaps less than a tenth of what it normally takes. What was it? Was there any one or what things allowed you to move that quickly?
So a few things. The first thing is mRNA, because it's software, it's a platform. So the way we make vaccine against flu or against Zika or against the SARS-CoV-2 is exactly the same technology. We only change the instruction coming from sequencing, getting the genomics information of the specific virus, and then we drop it in the same cassette, literally on the computer. It took us 2 days to go from the sequence posted online by the Chinese to have finished the design of a vaccine. Usually it takes years in the labs, it took us 2 days. So that's the first piece. The technology is really quite remarkable to be able to copy and paste and just do it again and do it again and do it again. The second piece is this was not our first vaccine in the clinic. This was actually our 10th vaccine in the clinic. So we've gained experience we've improved the technology, we improved the manufacturing process over the last 5 years that we have been doing this in the clinic, but the company is 10 years old now. The third piece is the FDA. The team at the FDA has been remarkable. The collaboration with the FDA has been fantastic. We had a team dedicated for Moderna. And unlike in regular times when a company asks a question to the FDA, they have up to 30 days to decide a date to schedule a meeting in the future. We had answers the same day, on weekends, in the evening. Sometimes we had 2 to 3 days per week. That same process will take maybe 3 months in normal times. Wow. And so very quick dialogue with the agency to allow us to make decisions that were really critical to get to the next step. And I would say the last thing is the US government. I have to give a lot of credit to the US government last year, and Operation Warp Speed was actually on the vaccine front. I can only speak about the vaccine piece. Was really remarkable because by giving us a grant of $1 billion, like they did to all the big companies that are working or have vaccine authorized, that allowed us to take a lot of business risk. Obviously, it was out of the question to take clinical risk on participants of the studies. That was just a no-go. That never crossed our mind, that never crossed the FDA mind. But what we did with having access to that money is to take a lot of business risk. We've done a lot of things in parallel that usually you will do one after the other, because if something fails, then you will not waste the money of the next step. But when you are in a pandemic and you get a grant from the government, the reason they gave us those grants to all those companies to say, we want you to save every day you can, because every day matters, because we are losing Americans every day.
So, Stéphane, I know that Moderna, as you said, this vaccine was not your first entry into the vaccine world, but you've also been working using the platform for other therapeutics. What lessons have you learned now in this past year developing this that you'll be able to apply to some of these other areas, and what are they?
Yeah, so I think there's 2 types of lessons that we learn, Max. One is around the portfolio of a vaccine. On the vaccine front, we are so very much more willing to take calculated business risk now on our vaccine portfolio, because it's exactly the same technology as the vaccine that has been authorized. So if you think about Moderna, in the last 10 years that the company was around, we believed we could, by investing in science, one day get a product authorized by the regulator. But we didn't know. We believed. Today we know that we can get an mRNA vaccine authorized by the regulator. And in business, between believing and knowing is a huge difference of your willingness to take a risk, because you know this can be approved. So you will see a lot of acceleration of our vaccines, and also a lot of very innovative vaccine we're going to bring to market that's going to benefit a lot of people. On the therapeutic side, which is making treatment, not vaccination, treatment for when people are sick, I think what has really helped us tremendously is the manufacturing scale-up. This year we're on track to make up to 1 billion doses. That's a lot of material, and it's an incredible manufacturing achievement. In 2019, we only made less than 100,000 doses for the entire year. 100,000 doses for the entire year. I can tell you the face of my leadership team in manufacturing, when in February of 2020, I told them, guys, next year we need to make 1 billion doses. They look at me and say, what are you talking about? It's impossible. We're like, it's 10,000 times more product. We have 12 months to get ready. I say, yes, and people are dying, so let's get to work. And they find a way. They were very creative, extremely collaborative. They really did an amazing job. And that's, for me, a really tour de force. I mean, if you think about it, go to any amazing company, go to Apple or go to Tesla, and ask them next year, you need to make 10,000 times more product. It's not like 5%. I think it's a really remarkable achievement that's going to benefit all of our treatments.
So you now know how to get the mRNA into a nanoparticle that will survive being injected. And for things like therapeutics, for treatments, all you really need to know is what's the protein that will either fix a problem or treat the problem, and you're off to the races?
Yes, it's that powerful, Max. You 100% get it. I mean, a drug that I'm very excited about, that I love to talk about, because one of my grandfather died of a heart attack, is a drug we are developing with AstraZeneca, which is now in phase 2 in clinical studies, being injected in people's heart after a heart attack. So as many people know, if you have a heart attack and you survive it, you will have very severe heart failure because your heart muscle will have been damaged by lack of oxygen during the infarct. And because of that, most people after a heart attack that they survive live between their bed and their sofa and their TV because they cannot even go for a walk because the heart has been so damaged. So what we are trying to leverage with AZ is regenerative medicine in your own body of a protein you have. We all have in our DNA, again, the hard drive of life, we all have the instruction of a protein called VEGF, VEGF. That protein, what does it do? It grows brand new blood vessel. We use it in our body every time we cut ourselves because our body has to heal by making new blood vessels to bring a blood and oxygen and nutrients into the cells. And so the very innovative idea here is to inject mRNA once, 10 to 12 injections done by a cardiologist in the area of your heart that was damaged by lack of oxygen during the infarct. It has to be done within a few days.
And new blood vessels grow into the damaged area.
So we've shown that in mice, we've shown that in pigs, published in Nature, showing beautiful data and improvement of the ejection fraction capability of your heart. The phase 1 done by AstraZeneca also has been published. It's beautiful. The safety profile is pristine. And we see expression of VEGF, and we see increase in blood flow. Also in people's arm as a way to de-risk, if you want, not going first in people's heart after a heart attack.
Right.
Very risky endeavor, of course.
Stéphane, before we run out of time here, because there's so much here to talk about, the hot topic now is when it comes to COVID, are these variants that keep popping up. And of course they will, as you said, as we've discussed before, they will continue to pop up. What can you do about it?
Yes, so the variants, the good news is some like the UK variant, no impact on the vaccine. South Africa and Brazil, a little impact, but still very high level of antibody, way above what is required. So we think the current vaccine is very protective against those, but we don't know what the future is made of. And especially what will happen with waning immunity over time. And so we've announced a few weeks ago that we have developed already and made and shipped to Dr. Fauci at the NIH in only 30 days, a new vaccine that to be used as a boost, a single dose boost, with the exact full copy of the virus first identified in South Africa, that mutant. And we're going to get this one authorized if the data is good, which we anticipate, because again, it's like software, sometime this summer. And we are committed to chase any variant of concern.
So that as these new variants pop up, which they likely will, you'll be able to generate a vaccine against them.
Correct. And we will also be able to combine things. If down the road you have a UK 3.0 and a Brazil 2.0 that is an issue, we can have in the same vaccine, in a single dose boost for you, the RSA 1.0, the UK 3.0 and the Brazil 2.0. We will adapt because we can mix mRNA. We've already done it in the clinic.
Stéphane, that is encouraging, incredibly encouraging news. Thank you for your time. Keep up the good work. This is really terrific. Thank you.
Thank you so much.